All right, so this morning we are going to walk through setting up lead generating Facebook ads as well as advertising our listings on Facebook. As I'm going through the training this morning, please interrupt me with any questions. You can unmute yourself or you can ask in the chat box, and I'll periodically ask if there are any questions. This training is all for you, so please make sure I don't miss anything that you are interested in hearing about this morning. So to get started, before we actually do any Facebook advertising, we need to make sure that our Facebook account is properly connected to Command. So to do that, I'm going to go up to my name in the top right-hand corner, and I'm going to click on Settings. And then I'm going to come down here. I see I have Facebook Post Scheduling, and I have it connected. And then I scroll down just a little bit, and now I see I have Facebook Ads Manager. You need to make sure that your Facebook Ads Manager is connected. You do have to have a Facebook business page to run Facebook ads through Command. So when you go to connect your Facebook business page to Command, you actually are going to sign into your personal account, and then it'll give you the option to select which business page you want to use. So I know it's kind of counterintuitive since we're connecting a business page, but you do sign in using your personal account information. But you need to make sure that your Facebook Ads Manager is connected. All right. So the next thing we're going to do before we actually go through the processes of setting up an ad is we need to get our ad creative. So what is the image that we're going to use? And for this morning's example, I want to walk through just using a Keller Mortgage ad. To me, it's such a simple lead gen tool, and it can help get some buyers that are maybe on the fence, really thinking about, oh, wow, I could afford this. And if I got a couple extra savings here and there through Keller Mortgage, I'd be in the market to buy a new home. Command has a ton of images that you can use, all copywritten images that you have the right to use, and they're all in designs. So I'm going to go to designs, which is the third icon from the bottom on the left-hand side. And then to create a new design, I'm going to click on the plus sign in the bottom right-hand corner. Looks like designs is still loading, so we'll give that a second. All right. All right, so I'm going to click the plus sign in the bottom right-hand corner. I'm then going to click on social. So in Command or in designs, when you're selecting the type of design you want to make, social really means anything that's going to be across social or any digital media. So we'll select social here and then click next. And now it's going to load the design editor. And on the left-hand side, we have all these different categories of types of designs that we can use. So you can just kind of click through them all and see which one you want to use. Coming soon. We did a whole training last week or the week before on all the different types of print and digital designs that you can use. So here in buyer, I have a Keller Mortgage section. And then we have two different sizes up here. We have social square and social wide. I want to use this as a lead generating tool. So I'm going to use social wide because Facebook is really going to be the optimal platform for gathering leads, names, and phone numbers and email addresses. So here is, what is this? 8 different options of creative that you can use in your ad. You'll notice that all of them are pretty basic. They just have an image and a little bit of copy on top of them. One thing to keep in mind whenever you're creating a Facebook ad is only 20% of an image can have text over it. Facebook is really particular about making sure that most of the copy is actually in the space above and below the image and not actually on top of the image. So this is just a great quick image that you can use here that you don't need to worry about because this has already been tested and these images work on Facebook. So for today, I'm just going to pick this image here. I'm going to click use, and it's going to open up. All right. Now you can see, quick question here. So Rudiger just said Facebook just dropped the text restrictions. I recently did an ad that was text only and it was approved. Oh, well, that is interesting. That's awesome. I did not know that. I'm going to look into that. Let me write a note. So here we have our image with our text here. I don't need to do anything to it. If you wanted to, you could add your Keller Williams logo. You could add a Keller Mortgage logo. If you wanted to, I would really just keep it pretty simple here and not do anything. So I'm going to just rename this. I'm going to name Keller Mortgage. And I'm going to name this 322, just so I know. Click File, Save. All right. I don't have to do anything else. I don't even have to download this. I'm just going to click Done. And it was that easy to get my new image for my Facebook ad. So now that we have our image, let's go into campaigns and we'll actually go through setting up our paid advertisement. So I'm going to click on the icon of the megaphone, which is the campaigns applet. So let's open that. And then this is going to be your campaigns dashboard. So when you click into campaigns, you'll get a really quick overview of any campaigns that you have, whether it's Facebook campaigns, email campaigns, direct campaign or direct mailers, or if you have any post scheduled Facebook posts. Up here in the top right-hand corner, it shows your connected accounts. So let's see, I have my Facebook business page connected here. To get started, we're going to click on Create New Campaign up here in the top right-hand corner. Oh, thank you, Rudiger, for sending that link. Awesome. So I'm going to just leave that link open and I'll read it later. So I'm going to click Create a New Campaign in the top right-hand corner. And then we have a couple different options here. We have Social Ad, and then we have Social Post over here. We want to make sure that we select Social Ad Paid. And the difference between a social ad and a social post is that a social ad is going to be delivered to people that we are not already connected to on Facebook. This is how we're going to use it as lead generation. So we want to meet and we want to market to people we don't already know. If you did a social post, that would just be the Facebook delivering a message to people that already like and follow you. So we're going to select Social Ad Paid. And then with everything, I always recommend to start at the top and we'll work our way down. So I'm going to give this campaign a name. So I'm going to name this Training 3/22/21. I would say give the name to your campaign of something that you're going to be able to keep track of. Actually, let me rename this. Let's do this Keller Mortgage Training 3/22. So now I can easily see, oh, right, that's a Keller Mortgage ad and it's from March 22nd. Then below here, we have 8 different options for what our goal is. Select the goal that's going to be most similar to what it is you're trying to achieve. By selecting a goal here, it's not going to actually affect the delivery of your campaign. But when you go back to check your reporting and you want to compare the success of one campaign to another, you can then also want to make sure that you're comparing the goal, because advertising a listing is going to be a little bit different than trying to attract listings versus trying to attract buyers. So each one has its own separate goal, and you want to make sure you're only comparing apples to apples. So today I'm going to select attract buyers with Keller Mortgage. And then down here, it's going to ask where I want this campaign to run. I'm going to select Facebook. You could select Facebook and Instagram. I'm not a Twitter user, so I'm not going to run it on Twitter. But when you think of the lead generation process and what it's like for a consumer to go through that, Facebook is really going to be the optimal platform for that. It just lends itself to being a little bit more seamless for someone to put their name and contact information versus scrolling through Instagram. It's not common habit there or common usage to then click and input your information. So I'm just going to select Facebook for this morning, and click Set Up Campaign. All right, let me skip this little purple guy. All right, so we have our name and goal that we just filled in. So we have a check mark here next to that. Below that, we have no listing selected. Now, we're not running an advertisement for a listing, so we don't need to worry about it. Below that, we have our ad text. One thing I also want to point out is you'll notice that we have our ad text, and then we have our preview over here on the right-hand side. So as we update the information on the left-hand side, that preview on the right-hand side will get updated. So we have our main copy here, and this is going to be the copy that appears above the image. So I will tell you what, I'm not a very good copywriter. It's not one of my strengths. So if you are not already a part of the KW Command Facebook group or Command Your Conversion Facebook group, please join that. There are tons of examples of different ads that agents have run across the country with copy, images that have been very successful for them. Or they'll say, hey, I ran this, it didn't work very well, I'd recommend this tweak. And Nick Baldwin has a ton of different examples of copy that you can use. I'm going to tell you, for the copy that we're using this morning, I got it from Command Your Conversion. So join those groups, Command Your Conversion and KW Command on Facebook. So let's get started by pasting in our ad text. So I already saved these. So I'm just going to copy this text that I have saved over in a Word document. I'm just going to paste that into the main copy. The Keller Mortgage 0+ loan has 0 lender and origination fees plus $1,000 towards third-party costs on loans over $150,000. See if you qualify below and save some cash. And I updated the copy here, and it updated on the preview on the right-hand side. Super simple. I will tell you this, and for whatever reason, I don't know the science behind it or the research, but emojis really help in getting users to click and inputting their information. I guess it's a little bit more eye-catching, and emojis are very popular and very common. So when they see it in an ad, it looks very similar to what people text back and forth. So I would definitely recommend adding a few emojis in your copy. So to do that, in the bottom right-hand corner of the main copy field, there's a little smiley face. So I'm going to click on that. And then you can just kind of, scroll through all the different emojis, or you could search. So I'm going to search 0. I don't like that. Let's do no. Perfect. I'm going to use this one here. So let me cut that. I'm going to paste that right in there. Oh. 0 lender and origination fees plus see if you qualify to save some cash. And then let's add another one. I like the little heart eyes one. And then let's also add, let's do house. Perfect. That, and then let's see, money. And I'm going to paste this. Let me correct that. So I have a few emojis here. You can see how they render over here in the right-hand side in the preview. It just kind of makes it a little bit more eye-catching as it's scrolling through, and kind of speaks to like some of those emotions that someone might be feeling as they read this ad. Scrolling down, we have our headline, which is going to be this bold text right here. And I'm going to copy this. So copy, paste, get 1,000 back at closing, really. So again, eye-catching, $1,000. That's going to, really get someone to think, oh, well, maybe if I'm kind of on the fence, let's click to learn more. And then below that, we have our description. And here, this is just a little bit more information about what your ad is, what it is you're offering. So I'm just going to paste in that description there. It says, find out more about 0+. It's that simple. You could make this a little bit more descriptive. You have up to 250 characters. And you can add emojis here if you wanted to. You can see how all of that text renders on the right-hand side. Any questions so far about the ad copy that we have pasted in here? All right. I will say one thing I want to point out is for the main copy, you have up to 250 characters in this space. However, I would recommend you keep the copy pretty short. After I think about 220 characters, Facebook will put the ellipses, those 3 dots, and will kind of hide the last part of that text. If you can avoid having that last part of your text hidden, it'll really improve the performance, because that way they don't have to click to expand the text to learn more before they click the ad, before they then submit their information. So the less clicks a consumer has to make, it's going to improve your performance. So scrolling down, I'm going to click Save Ad Text. And now we go to Add Media. So I'm going to click Configure. And then we're going to add our image. So I'm going to select media for this campaign. So we can choose from a listing, which we're not doing, add images or add videos. So I'll click Add Images. And then I could upload one if I wanted to, but I don't need to, because I can directly browse the design library. So we made that image earlier this morning. So I'm going to click Browse Design Library, and it's going to show all the different creative pieces that I've made. So I'm going to select my Keller Mortgage 322. It's going to load in here. Let's give this a second. All right, let me try this again. Add images, browse design library. There we go. So preview and crop. I'm going to leave this as the wide format, but you have different options of square, vertical, portrait, and this is going to depend on which type of placements you want to run for your ad. But I'm going to leave it as wide because that is optimal for Facebook. So I'll click Save Image. And then up here on the right-hand side, I can see the preview. And now that we have an image, I want to click through and show you the different options or the different previews that we have. So it's going to default to the Facebook web preview, but it's also going to give me the ability to do a mobile ad preview. So this is what my ad would look like on someone's cell phone. And now you'll notice here this text, see if ... Those are the ellipses I was talking about, where you want to try to avoid that if you can. And to me, this looks pretty good on mobile, so I'm pleased. And if you had any other placements, if you're also going to run on Instagram or on Twitter, it would show you those previews there. If we were running, well, we don't need to add our logo here, so we're fine because this is not actually advertising a property. So I'm going to click Save Ad Media. And then we'll go to Facebook Ad, and we'll go to Configure. First thing here, it's going to show, we're going to have to select our business page. So it's going to show our account, which is my personal account. And then I have a separate drop down for all of the business pages that I have connected to my personal account. So I'm going to select the Nicholas Core Real Estate Group. That's what I want my ad to run through. So we'll give that a second to connect. And if I scroll up, it now shows a preview of that ad from the Nicholas Core Real Estate Group, and there's my image. Below that, we have our destination, and this is what's going to decide where that user goes. So we have two options of use Facebook lead generation form and use a site or landing page. This morning's ad that we're creating is we want to use it for lead generation. So we want to make sure that we select the use Facebook lead generation form. If this is your first time going through the process, when you click that use Facebook lead gen form, a new window is going to pop up, and it's going to have some terms and conditions for you to review and agree to for the integration of Facebook and Command and that lead generation tool. Once you agree and accept all those terms, it'll then select here. Now, the way that a lead gen ad works on Facebook is that a consumer scrolling through their Facebook feed, they then see my Keller Mortgage ad and they think, oh, wow, like if I could save $1,000, maybe I'd be interested in buying. They click on the ad. It doesn't take them anywhere yet. A window pops up and it asks them to fill in their name, email, phone number, and any other additional contact information. The benefit of Facebook is that it will pre-populate those fields based on what that user has put in their profile. So it makes it a little bit easier of them not having to necessarily manually type in all of that information. Then once that information is good to go, the user will click submit. And it's as soon as that user clicks submit that they are then taken to another page. So you'll see here, we're going to use our Facebook lead generation form. We're going to have our call to action button, but then we also have a follow-up destination URL, which we have to include a follow-up destination URL because once they click submit, it's going to take them somewhere else. So we can type in any URL here. If you wanted to make a landing page, you could choose from all the landing pages that you've created in Command. But since we are using Keller Mortgage as our ad, let's send these users to Keller Mortgage. So I'm going to go to portal.kellermortgage.com, and you can log in here, and everyone has their own unique Keller Mortgage page. So I'd recommend, if you haven't, please go to isn't that right? Portal.kellermortgage.com. And then log in. It's going to be your same credentials that you log in for everything else across KW. Then when you get in here, if you go to KM settings, right here, you'll notice you have my personal Keller Mortgage link. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to open up a new browser tab because I want you to see what it looks like. So this is what it would click through. You can see here that if someone got to this page, it would already have my agent branding here, which is my name and my picture, so they're somewhat familiar. If they want to buy a home, so they can just kind of, go through the process, enter in their information, and this would come as a new lead to me as well as Keller Mortgage, and it would automatically have their information linked. So that would be the process. So I really like that URL, this personal one. So I'm going to copy that again. I'm going to go back into Command, and I'm going to paste that URL right there. As Command is going to double check that URL, and it's going to confirm that it is good to go. So now, as that user is scrolling through Facebook, they see my ad, they click on it, they submit their contact information, and then they're going to go to the Keller Mortgage landing page. Now, you can test and see which landing pages work best for you. If you wanted to create a landing page, or if you had a page on your website that was dedicated to Keller Mortgage, that may be a better place for them. If you put a ton of work into that, that would be great. I don't have that on my website, so I can take advantage of this unique Keller Mortgage page that I have. Any questions about what we've gone through so far? Now, I do want to point out again, before we go on to the next section, for our destination for this ad, when you want to get leads from your ads, you must use Facebook lead generation form. If you use a site or landing page, it will not generate leads for you. So always be sure to double check that you are using the Facebook lead gen form. Scrolling down, we have our ad targeting. It's going to default to 20 miles around the most closest major city to where you are. So you can see here, it's going to default to 20 miles around Atlanta, Georgia. But I don't want to just deliver this ad to everybody in Atlanta. I only want to deliver this to people that are actually thinking of buying a new home in the next couple months. I don't want to waste my money delivering my ad and getting leads for people that are just like, oh no, I don't want to buy a new home. So we can use custom settings here to really focus in on those specific people that would be most likely to engage with my ad and hopefully, fingers crossed, become a client. So I'm going to click the toggle here to use custom settings. Scrolling down, we have two options here at the top to check: target my database and target a custom audience. It's going to default to target a custom audience because as a Facebook lead gen ad, we want to talk to people that I don't know, that are not currently in my sphere, that are not currently in my database. So I don't want to target my database because I don't want to pay to get a lead from people that are already in my system. There will be certain times when targeting your database makes sense, but when you're trying to get leads and new contacts, always be sure to target a custom audience. Below here, we have our location. It's going to default to United States and Atlanta. And it's also going to default to a mile radius of 20. Based on fair housing requirements, the minimum radius that you can run an ad for real estate is 15 miles. So you can reduce that to 15 miles. It can't go any smaller than that, which seems pretty small. We're not able to target by zip code. It really is just going to be a generic radius. Now it has Atlanta here, but let's say I don't really work a ton in Atlanta. Let's say I do more in Roswell. I can just search for Roswell, and then I could do a 15-mile radius around Roswell, Georgia. Or now if you wanted to do Marietta, Georgia. So you can go through and find the part of town that you really focus in. Now remember, 15 miles is a pretty big radius. But if you live up in Roswell, you probably don't want to select Atlanta because you probably don't want to continuously have to drive down into the city for appointments. I'm going to leave that to 15 miles. And then below that, we have expert targeting. We talked really briefly about this on team meeting last Tuesday, but expert targeting is what's really going to ensure that you are delivering your ad to people that are in market for real estate, that are thinking about real estate, that are displaying or doing actions across the internet that lets the algorithms know that they're interested in real estate. So to do that, we're going to click Add Interests here. Give this a second to load, and you'll see we have a ton of interests that we can add, like hundreds of them. And you could scroll through if you really wanted to. And there's a lot of them, but I would recommend just kind of having a few. I'd say really the goal here would be between 5 and 10 interest points. No more than 10. I think that could be a little bit redundant. But you want to have more, 5 at the minimum, just to make sure that you are really focusing in on those people that are going to be most likely to convert to a client. So the first interest I recommend adding is Zillow. Whether we like Zillow or not, it really is a behemoth in the space, especially among consumers. So they've probably been playing on Zillow.com, or they like Zillow on Facebook. So we want to reach those people. Do not select Premier Agent because we don't want to message to other agents. We only want to message to consumers that are thinking about buying. I'm also going to do Trulia. I don't know why the system is being super slow today. Let's try Realtor. There we go. So Realtor.com. Again, not going to select the Pro because I don't want to talk to other agents. Now let's try Trulia. See if this loads. There we go. So we have 3 interests down here selected. So you'll notice that every time you add an interest, it will update that counter. You don't need to save after every individual interest. Go through and pick all the ones that you want. And then you can just kind of go through here and search for whatever you want. So we'll do home buyer. All right, so first time home buyer grant, that may be worth searching. And then we can search mortgage. So if someone's interested in mortgage loans or a mortgage broker, a mortgage calculator, all great tools. We have 7 selected. And yeah, you can just kind of go through that. Let's just search house hunting. That's an interest there. Leave that there. We can search real estate broker, investing, development, appraisal, entrepreneur, real estate license. Great. None of those really fit for wanting to get a new buyer, but we have 8 targeting interests added. So I think we're good. So I'm going to click save. But I would recommend kind of going through here and figuring out which ones work well for you and kind of start to keep a list that you can just really quickly refer back to. And that'll make it really easy for you in the future. But you could just go through here and look through all of them if you wanted to. So I'm going to click Save. So you'll see here we have, these are all of our interest targeting. We can add interests. It also, this is a new feature in the last couple of weeks. So if we wanted to go through and add more interests, I could just click on that and it would take us back to that same page. We can also narrow audience. Let's see what this is. And this is going to be additional audio or additional targeting. So if I clicked on accounting, let's click Save. Now, what is happening here is that it's going to require that all these people up here, that someone likes Zillow and must also like accounting. So these are going to be where we can have our and statements. I do not recommend that you select any of these and statements. When we were talking about this on team meeting last Tuesday, think of and or. Or is going to be people that are interested in Zillow or Realtor or Trulia or first-time home buyers grant. And you're going to have all these different targeting parameters that stack up on top of each other. So it's going to give you the broadest audience within a narrow group. Because you want it to be pretty big, because someone that you could work with could be looking for house hunting versus someone else could be looking at Zillow or mortgage calculator. You want to make sure you can talk to all of these people, because all of these different audiences right here all are interested in buying a new home. If you layer on a narrowing criteria, that's going to make your pool of people super small. How many people are going to like Zillow and accounting, or Realtor and accounting, or any other? So and is going to make it really small. So I would recommend avoiding adding any and statements here. So I'm going to click X on that because I want to get rid of that. Any questions there on the difference between selecting audience criteria? All right, so I'm going to click Save Facebook Ad. And then the last section here is the duration and budget. Now it's going to default to a 10-day run with a $30 budget. You can change this any which way you want. You will notice that the start date is tomorrow. When you do decide to run a Facebook ad, I would recommend that you go ahead and get your ad ready and publish it 2 to 3 days before you actually want it to start running, because Facebook has to review your ad and make sure that it is approved and that you are within all of the right fair housing parameters. So I'm going to change this to run on the 24th, and then I can change the end date. If you are with a lead generation campaign, I would recommend a minimum of 3 weeks. So if we have the 24th, let's go through April 10th. Oh, whoa, that's May 10th, excuse me. We'll do April 12th. So 19 days. We can make this a little longer. All right, so April 15th. Because it is going to take some time for that ad to get out there and for people to click on it. They may need to see it once or 2 or 3 times before they actually click on it and submit their information. So give yourself plenty of time to collect as many leads as possible. The default budget will be $10 or $1 per day. So, or $30 rather. So you can update this as much as you want as well. So you can just type in 50. There is a minimum of $1 per channel per day. So just keep that in mind, the minimum budget I could do would be $22. If I went below that, it wouldn't let me save it. See, when you go below the $1 per day, this green check mark here next to duration of budget goes away. Now, I would say give yourself a fair amount of money here. I would recommend like $230 per day. I think is a really healthy amount. You don't want to invest too much, because if you don't get too many leads or too many good leads, then you don't want to waste your money. But lead gen ads are a numbers game. So you need to, let's say for every 100 leads you get, probably 15 to 20 of them are actually going to have the real information. And then of that 15 to 20 of them, maybe 2 to 3 are going to be actual buyers that want to buy a new home in the next 3 to 6 months. So you do have to get a lot of really crappy leads to get the good ones and sift through them to be able to convert those people to that buyer brokerage agreement or listing agreement or whatever. So make sure you give yourself enough time and enough money to get plenty of leads. So once you've gone through, you selected your dates and your campaign budget, click Save Duration and Budget. And now we are good to go. What we would do is we'd click Publish Campaign, and then we would input our billing information. The way that command works is that our budget for this is $50. So when we click Publish Campaign, command is going to go ahead and charge my card $50. And it's going to put that $50 into like a bucket of money in command. And throughout my campaign, Facebook will deduct chunks of money every couple days from that bucket. Let's say I don't actually spend $50 on, I only end up spending $40. So I have a $10 credit. You can request a refund back to your bank account or credit card for that $10. You do need to submit that submit a support ticket through the little question mark up in the top right-hand corner, or you can leave that $10 in command. And the next time you go to run a campaign, let's say if you have another $50 campaign, you'll only be charged $40 because you have that $10 credit remaining. I just want to clarify that just in that way, because if you were to run an ad through Facebook directly, it only bills you every couple days rather than upfront, whereas command is going to bill you upfront. So I don't want there to be any concerns about, oh, why am I paying $50 upfront? I thought I haven't actually spent $50 worth of media yet. So you click Publish Campaign, and then you're good to go. I'm going to click Save as Draft because I don't actually want to publish this. Yes, I would like to save as draft. So again, it would take a couple days for you to come for this ad to get reviewed and approved. You would get a notification up here at your bell saying your ad has been reviewed and either approved or declined. More than likely, if you go through command, it will get approved because we do have the safe holds within command that only allow us to select ad criteria that are fair housing compliant. So you should be good to go. Once you have your lead gen ad and it's running, you'll want to come here to your paid ads dashboard. So let me just click back into campaign so we can start here. So let's say it's a week from today, my ad's been running for 5 days. I come back into campaigns. I'm going to click on paid ads at the top here. And this is going to show me an overview of all the campaigns that I have running. So we'll see here, I'm just going to scroll down to this 186 Cherokee Reserve ad that I ran. You can see here is going to be the image that we used, the status of this campaign, the duration of it, the cost per thousand. So CPM is cost per thousand. So how much did it cost me to reach 1,000 people? So I can see that I ran this, it delivered this ad to 100,000 people, and it cost me $1.98 per 1,000 people reached. To the right, we have our CPC column. So I had 540, CPC stands for cost per click. We had 542 clicks and it cost me 37 cents per click. To the right of that, we have our CPLC, and this is cost per lead captured. I spent $0 on leads because this was in fact not a lead gen ad, and I garnered 0 leads. Now you'll see how this number right here where it says shows 0 leads, it's a hyperlink. You can click on this number here, and this will open up a new browser window, and it's going to take you into your contacts, and it's going to show you all the leads that came from that campaign. So there aren't any leads from this campaign. Oh, it didn't open up a new browser window. Oh, that's not great. But you'd click here and it would show you all the leads that came in from that campaign. And then to the right of that, we have our total spend column. So $200 of 200 spent. To the right of that is our goal. And so you can see here how we can compare the two. So my attract buyers and advertise listing are two different goals. So I'd want to make sure that I only compare my attract listing, advertise listing to advertise listings, apples to apples. And then to the right of that, we have these three dots that gives us the ability to download a CSV of all the information from this campaign, duplicate campaign. And this is going to be if you literally just want to duplicate and start this campaign over exactly as it is. If you click duplicate, it does not give you the ability to make any edits. Archive campaign, so if you wanted to remove it here from your dashboard, or if you wanted to refresh a lead, so if you wanted to have the system repull leads to make sure that the most up-to-date leads were in the system. The other way that you can find your leads as they come in is if you go into contacts and then come over here to filters. You can select leads only. And then one thing I like to do is created within the last, and then you can select, let's say, last 10 days. So if you know that you've been running a lead gen ad for the last 10 days, you can put that in here and then click apply, and it's going to show you all those leads. Now, I don't have any leads from within the last 10 days, so nothing shows up here. But you can also do lead source, and you could come down here and select Facebook, add lead. We can try Facebook marketing, custom audiences. There we go. So you have those sources, so I can say apply, and it's going to show me all those leads that have come in from Facebook. So that's the other way that you can go through and find your leads. Any questions about setting up a lead gen campaign and how to find those leads? All right. The next thing I want to walk through really quickly is setting up a listing ad. So if you have a new listing and you want to advertise it. So I'm going to go back to campaigns. Up here in the top right-hand corner, I'm going to click create a new campaign. And we're going to go through this pretty quickly because it's going to be a very similar process, just some slight tweaks here and there. So again, I'm going to select social ad paid goal. So I'm going to name this, I'll just try 91 Moreland Avenue, 322 training. And I'm going to select advertise listing. If you had multiple listings that you wanted to advertise, you could. Where will your campaign run? I'm going to select Facebook. But since I'm also just trying to advertise, this is going to be an awareness base. I want as many people to see my listing as possible. I'm also going to select Instagram because there's an image of my listing, and that would be more in line with the consumer behavior on that platform. So I'm going to click Setup Campaign. And now it's going to ask me to search for my listing. Now it's going to default to show only active listings and only my listings. So you do have the ability, if you wanted to, you could advertise someone else's listing if you have written permission from them, especially if you're going to do an open house for them, or if you just have a friend and you're like, let me try to generate some leads off of this. I don't have any active listings right now, so I'm going to show all. Let me do all statuses, and then let me just pull up 91 Moreland Avenue. All right, so here's a listing that I had previously. So I'm just going to click select. Give that a second to load. Now you'll notice it already went ahead and pulled in the main image from that listing, and it pulled in that property description as the main copy. I would recommend that you edit this copy here. So beautiful townhome in the sought after Reynolds-Town neighborhood, fully updated, freshly painted, is move-in ready. Fall in love with your new home before someone else does. I don't know. Again, not great at copywriting. And again, we'll use some emojis here. So I used a little heart eye. So let me just cut that. paste, fall in love. Let's do house. So add a couple emojis there. Headline, Reynolds townhome for sale. Description, let's do 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,000 square feet, offered at, what is that, $475. Click to learn more. So quick description here. Now you'll notice, actually, let me change this. So I have my 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath for sale at 475. I put the list price here in the headline because I do want people to know what it costs. I don't want to spend extra money for people to see my ad that potentially have no interest in this home, would not be able to afford it. So I just want to let people know from the get-go that it is $475,000. So I'm gonna click Save Add Text. Add media. If you wanted to, you could edit the image. So I could click these 3 dots here and I could click Change Image, Add Images. Sorry, choose from listing. Now I chose an archived listing, so there aren't any other options there. You could add more images. Now my understanding is that if you select add more images, what it does is it creates separate ad units. It doesn't create a carousel. So I always recommend just leave 1 unit. Below here, we do need to include our DBA logo because we are advertising a piece of property. So we want to make sure that we are GREC compliant because they are back up and running and sending out citations. So I'm going to X this, I'm going to browse, I'm going to add my logo really quickly, or the First Atlanta logo. Logo, First Atlanta. Click open. And now it added the logo in the bottom right-hand corner. Click my little include ownership statement. Each office is independently owned and operated. Apply. Save add media. So you can see here's our preview. Here's the KW logo, our individual office statement, and then Facebook ad. So again, we're going to select the account, my page, Nicholas Cord Real Estate Group. And then below here, since we selected Instagram, it's going to give us 2 options if we want to run an Instagram ad or Instagram story. I would recommend Instagram ad. Instagram stories to me render in kind of a funny way. I don't think it's that great. And then below here, we have our destination. Now, before we used a Facebook lead gen form, but today this is all awareness based. So I'm going to use a site or landing page. Now you could advertise a listing and try to get leads from it. That's a-okay and a great use of your lead. Our listings provide leverage. But for today's example, I just want to use a landing page. We have our call to action button, which is learn more, sign up, contact us, apply now. I always recommend just leave it as learn more. I don't want anyone to feel that if they have to sign up or apply now, that they're going to have to put in too much personal information and it'd be a turnoff. So I'm just going to leave as learn more. Then we have our destination URL. So you can put this in as whatever. If you have created a landing page for this property, you can use the landing page here. It's that simple. It's going to double check that landing page. If you haven't created a landing page, I can show you a quick little workaround. So if you go to your nicholascord.kw.com, so just go to your Facebook, or sorry, excuse me, to your KW agent page, type in your listing. Let's see. I can change this. Let's do, so this is only showing, we don't want for rent. For sale, pending. Okay, so it's only showing, this will only work if you have an actual active listing. But what you can do is you can just come find your listing over here, open it up. So let me just open this one up. And let's just pretend that this is my listing. What I can do is I can come into this URL bar, copy this link, come back into command, and then paste that link there. So while I didn't have a landing page, what I can do is I can send people to the listing information on my website. So that way, if they are like, oh, I am interested in this property, they can just go ahead and submit their information to me on my website. So I don't have to compete with any Zillow agents or realtor agents or worry about them leaving my funnel. So it's that simple. Again, we have our ad targeting. We're going to want to use custom targeting. This is in Reynoldstown, so I'm just going to leave this as Atlanta. I'm going to do 15 miles, and we can just go through and do those same interests that we did before. I'm just going to add a few, especially since the system is being super slow. All right, I don't know why these are not loading, but we're getting towards the end of our time. So I'll just pretend that I added Zillow and Realtor and Trulia and mortgage and all those things. Then we have our duration and budget. Again, it's going to default to, what is this, 10 days with $1.50 per day. So we have 2 channels here. Again, you can edit this. Again, give yourself a day or two before this actually goes live so Facebook can review. I will say one thing you'll notice here is below total campaign budget. It says distribute evenly across channels since we've selected Facebook and Instagram. I would recommend that you unselect that and check the use automatic placements for Facebook, Instagram ads. So Facebook owns both platforms. And if you use automatic placements, that allows the Facebook system to analyze the performance of your ad. So how many people are responding to it? How many people are clicking on it? How many people are actually seeing it on the Facebook platform versus the Instagram platform? And let's say the Facebook platform is actually getting a lot more views and people are spending more time with it. The system will automatically optimize your campaign to deliver more heavily on Facebook. Because at the end of the day, Facebook wants to make sure that your campaign performs as best as possible so you continue to use Facebook advertising. So always be sure to use automatic placements for Facebook, Instagram ads. And then we'll see here we have our total daily budget of $3 per day, just because I haven't adjusted anything there. Save duration and budget. Here's our preview of our ad. It even includes a little click through right there so they can see. And you would click publish campaign and it's the same process. Now you'll notice since we did not use the Facebook lead gen form, I'm not going to receive any leads from this. The only leads that I could potentially get from this ad is if someone clicks through to the URL, goes to my website, and then puts in their contact information to get in contact with me. Very unlikely because that's a lot of steps and most people aren't going to just casually give away their information. But just be mindful of that depending on what you selected for the ad, the destination, how it will affect getting leads or not. So I'm going to click Save as Draft. Yes. What questions do you have about setting up Facebook lead gen ads, advertising a listing, using campaigns? Anything I can answer for you, clarify for you? All right. Well, if there aren't any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out as you start to use campaigns. It's a great tool and it's one of the great features of Command that Facebook is already integrated into our platform, which is then automatically integrated into our database. So take advantage of it. Always happy to set up any one-on-one time with you if you'd like to. And don't forget, check out Command Your Conversion and KW Command Facebook groups. There are a ton of resources there for you as you get started on figuring out how to set up ads and which ads might work well for you. Have a great rest of your day, and I will talk with you all soon.